Okay, here's part 2. Okay, back to where we were. Sorry about that. Anyways, when SpongeBob is finally out of energy and had become exhausted from driving the train, he stops pedaling. But his passengers doesn't show any sympathy or compassion or consideration or warm-heartedness to SpongeBob. You know what they do instead? They bitch at SpongeBob, saying, "Excuse me, we didn't pay you to see you take a nap." And he's like, "That is the most disgusting SpongeBob costume I've ever seen." And then they become like an angry mob, planning to kill SpongeBob as well because of that. What a bunch of monsters they had became in this episode. Even Mr. Krabs himself. He is not only a huge asshole, but he is also a monster. Yeah, they threaten to riot if not given a ride. How awful is that, folks? Isn't it just plain awful of how they treated SpongeBob like that? Oh my god, that's so awful. Using this distraction, SpongeBob manages to slip away after putting his statue in its place. Yeah, he takes it when one person was taking a picture of it and it gets taken but without the statue of SpongeBob. Pretty sure he won't be happy on that. Then he enters the Krusty Krab and discovers Mr. Krabs has gotten all kinds of new products customized to look exactly like him, SpongeBob himself. He also then discovers that new spongy patties are making people very ill by turning them yellow with green spots, resembling SpongeBob and giving them terrible stomach pains. Of course, because Mr. Krabs doesn't give a dog's ass about anyone but himself. He doesn't even care. There was this one episode where the Krusty Krab was closed down, but for being fun and delicious. He should have had his restaurant closed down for making, in this episode, for making people very ill. And not to mention in that episode, Band in Bikini Bottom, I believe, Mr. Krabs threw a tantrum about it because his restaurant is now closed. There was a scene where he threw a tantrum about it like a fucking toddler or 2-year-old. That is so immature of Mr. Krabs. Like, really, he needs to put a hair on his grip already and move on. And do something that's not money related. Of course, that's impossible because he can't do anything without money, I guess. SpongeBob gets Mr. Krabs to come out, and when he sees the customers, he thinks that he is invaded by zombies who wants to eat his money and tries to protect his fortune. Of course. But, however, SpongeBob stops him and explains they are actually his customers who ate the spongy patties. "Mr. Krabs, please listen to me. Those are your customers. You're making them really sick. Look." A customer eats his sick friend's patty and had become disgusted after he ate it. He confronts Mr. Krabs over it. And he says, "Sir, you are one fucked up in the head. What the hell is this crap?" And Mr. Krabs meekly explains that it was a spongy patty before the customers get sick as well. Then SpongeBob had become distraught and tells Mr. Krabs that he poisoned all the customers. You know what? It comes to a point where the Krusty Krab should have just go out of business for real. If Mr. Krabs wants to poison customers like that, then the Krusty Krab should just go out of business. There was no point to that. If a food is poisonous and if people eats it, they might either die or get ill. And that's really sad, okay? But my point, the Krusty Krab should just go out of business if Mr. Krabs wants to be a huge asshole and poison all the customers like that. It just should have gone out of business. My God. Mr. Krabs was then shocked and then becomes guilty, and he realizes what he had done. And before he can fix the damage he caused, he is immediately arrested by the angry customer who is actually a cop. Yeah, because Mr. Krabs was a huge, self-centered, arrogant son of a bitch. And in court, Mr. Krabs then feels remorseful and guilty about what he had done and about his actions. The jury, headed by Gene Scallop, finds him guilty and Mr. Krabs accepts the charges. But just as Mr. Krabs is about to go to prison, he then realizes the judge has a SpongeBob gable and he turns out to be a huge SpongeBob fan. Mr. Krabs makes the deal with the judge that SpongeBob goes back to cooking while Squidward has to ride the judge around a Krusty Sponge fun train for the rest of the day. Of course, because it's a Squidward torture festival. And in the end, Squidward is treated nothing but absolute cruelty. This ending was just awful as well. And the judge made a deal about it so that Mr. Krabs wouldn't have to go to prison. Squidward then depressingly drives the judge around, and the Krusty Krab returns to normal as the episode ends. And that's basically what the plot is. I'll explain what my thoughts about this god-awful episode on the next pod, so stay tuned.